You're on the road with Noble Outfitters. We're in Chandler, Arizona today, and we are going to show you a store that's 150,000 square feet called Shoppers. We're going to introduce you to Kim Troby and Paul Winos, the managers of this store. I'm just kind of hanging out for a little while and getting a little rest because when I first walked in, I looked at the store. I thought, you know, I think I better have a seat for a few minutes here before we take a look at this store. It's massive. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. You're on the road with Noble Outfitters.
In the mid-1800s, America was pushing west and expanding at a rate unknown to any previous civilization. Americans pursued their dreams and unlimited opportunity. But they needed food, equipment, seeds, and tack to press on beyond the established cities and towns already settled. Out of this demand, a new retailer was born, the General Store, who handled everything a westward family would need to survive. Today, these retailers provide rural Americans the same materials, service, and expertise that made them invaluable over 150 years ago. Join Noble Outfitters as we rediscover the retailing backbone of America. Hear their story in their own words, how they've not only survived, but actually thrived in the modern world. Come along as we go on the road with Noble Outfitters.
Hey Kim, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good to see you. Paul, how you doing?
Good, sir. How are you?
Hey, it's nice. You got a little greeting for me here, a little popcorn.
I sure do. You're going to need a whole bag to get through this store.
You know, I think I am going to need a little nourishment getting around here. I'd love for you guys to show me around, and you know, it's massive, right? So it's not just like just a little bit of here and there. I mean, you've got just everything here. So I want to look around and see what we got. So, mind showing me around?
Not at all.
All right,
Okay.
I got my popcorn. Let's rip.
Okay.
Okay. Wow, this is an amazing store. I mean, you know, obviously it's huge, but categorically, what are the categories that you have inside the store?
Oh my gosh.
Firearms, clothing,
Firearms.
Western wear, equine supplies, plumbing, tools,
Automotive.
electrical.
But you know,
Plumbing.
that's the interesting part about what we talk about at the show. You know, here in Arizona, a lot of people from the East Coast, they've never been to Arizona, never been to the West Coast even. So we're gonna show them some fun and show them a little bit about what you guys do here. And first of all, I see you got some great products to start right out with here. Obviously, okay. Well, show me around here. Besides Noble Outfitters, what else we got here?
A little bit of everything.
You know, interestingly, when we go around and see all the stores around the country, one of the mainstays in the store is footwear. Okay, so you got your Western boots, you got your work boots, and all the different areas of footwear because that's a big part of what people need out there when they're farming, ranching, riding, or whatever. Interestingly, you know, we never made any Western boots until just not long ago, and you know, we showed them to you guys tried them on, and we lived. And a lot of people are buying Western boots not because they're buying a pair of boots and they ride in them every day or they work in them every day. It's like a lifestyle, right? I mean, it's Western fashion, you know. So to be able to put those boots on and feel like they're almost like tennis shoes is what we were striving for, and we created that. And I'm telling you, I put mine on, you know, this morning, brand new, and wore them out here because I wanted to look nice. And they're like tennis shoes, you know, like slippers. So we've accomplished that with the Western boot. And in our advertising also, we look at it and we talk about people playing soccer and playing golf in the boots because they're so lightweight. When you hand them to somebody, they go, oh my gosh, you know, this is amazing. They're so light. But that's fun. It's fun for us to listen to the customer and find out what they want and then make that product for them and make them happy and then be able to bring you something that's new and exciting for your customers because, hey, you got a ton of products, right? So we've got to give you something that's interesting. I'd really like to see the firearms section and see what that means to you guys here in Chandler.
That'd be
You
great.
bet.
Okay.
Yep.
Shoppers has an amazing gun section, and which is a little bit different from most of the farm and feed stores around the country. And manager Scott Reed, I want to introduce you to.
Nice
How
to
are
meet
you, Scott?
Very well. How are you?
Hey, this is fun. It's fun to look at all these guns, and you know, this is an interesting piece here. This is the old Winchester. What model is this? This is a
Model 94 in 3030.
Okay, and so this firearm was created back in the 1800s, and most every settler had them with them, you know, coming across the plains, which is something they really had to have. I mean, you think about it, you're out there in no man's land, and you got, you know, wild animals and whatever going on, and you need to protect yourself, so you obviously have to have, you know, a good, reliable firearm.
Tube-fed magazine, and like I said, that is a gun that changed the West right there.
Interesting, interesting. And Winchester's still making them. That's a great story.
Absolutely.
In the United States as well. You know, it's just an interesting time, you know, because if you think about it, just think if the Second Amendment were to be challenged in 1890 or 1910, you know, when people were out there on the plains, you know, and obviously there's crazy stuff going on, but at the end of the day, you know, firearms are a part of the heritage of this country, and to be able to, you know, protect yourself or go out and hunt and you know, be out there in the open, you know, it's kind of what we are as people. So
Absolutely.
It's a little bit sad right now to see what's going on out there.
It's
I mean,
a different time and place, that's for sure.
almost a little bit too much change for me, you know.
A little
it's
too
like-
much for me as well.
Yeah, how long you been doing firearms here?
4 years since the department opened up. They brought me in to run the department. Shoppers have been around for over 50 years, and they never had a firearms department. So I was brought in to open up and run the department, and we've been very successful.
Well, that's great. Shoppers is a fun store. I mean, it's just, you know, I'm only halfway through, and I got more to see. I may be here for a while. I might need another bag of popcorn.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we have popcorn that'll help you through the walk, that's for sure.
Well, thank you for taking a minute to talk to me
No
and
problem.
show me
My
around.
pleasure.
And can I take this one with me? It's
$1,000.
It's only $1,000, so it's like.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back with the owners of this store, Jim Schmidt and Tyler Schmidt, to tell you more about how did Shoppers even come about. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Jim, pleasure meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for the hospitality. Tyler,
Nice to meet you.
this is a beautiful store. It's amazing. It's wonderful. But the biggest part about this store to me is the history. The history behind what created your retail experience and where that all came from. So if you could just take us back in time, really with Tyler, your great-grandfather, being a merchant. And you know, our whole show is about these merchants that just kind of like made some stores out in no man's land and started servicing people with everything. And as the wagon trains came out west, they just serviced them with all they had. And your great-grandfather did that. So how did that all get started?
Well, it's interesting you say wagon train because my grandmother actually came over on a wagon train from Pennsylvania as a baby. And then she actually saw them land on the moon
Wow.
in the 60s. So,
Wow,
so
that's amazing.
Yeah, originally Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, I believe is where they came from.
Okay, and you know, it's so amazing because if you think about today, I mean, you know, you put the kids in the car today and go somewhere, and if they don't have their iPhone in a movie, you know, they can't make it. Could you imagine throwing them back in a wagon train? Your grandmother, you know, I don't know how old she was. Like, okay, get back there. We're going out west. Just it's amazing.
It took months.
So when did your grandfather open his first store?
I'm not sure when. It was up in Minnesota, a small town called Melrose, Minnesota.
Okay.
And it was a general store. He sold, I don't know, anywhere from eggs to ropes.
Yeah.
I mean, just
well,
anything.
I know he sold. You've got an interesting piece of history here. You know, F.H. Schmidt and Company. We got a stack of receipts from a family. Looks like a family farm that just would like run up a tab, and then maybe at harvest time come in and pay. But all these receipts from this family farm, you know, and you see in here, you know, sugar, you know, and flour, you know, and different things. But you know, one of the things I was reviewing this, and I got sugar and syrup and sugar, and you know, and then I said, you know, man, I think these guys have a real sweet tooth. They got a lot of syrup and sugar.
I think their sugar was for a still
You
back
said-
in the Prohibition
That was
days.
great. You said, you know, there's no way they're eating that much sugar. Okay.
No, that's
they're
for a
running a still. That's
Minnesota
great.
13.
Oh, that's funny. That's great. But it's amazing because this family comes in and writes a check for $1,500 at the end of the year. So your grandfather just floats these people for that long. If the crops didn't make it, if hail came and destroyed the crop or whatever, he's getting stuck. I mean, he's not going to be able to get paid, and he'd carry him for another year.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of hurt him. He was just, according to my father, Grandpa was way too nice of a guy, and
He just like, hey, whatever, take it, pay me later.
Yeah, when you get money, you pay me and go ahead. But up until then,
Isn't that great? Just on a
we trust you.
handshake, no
Yep.
contract, and then he got his check, and he probably went home and said, "Hey, we're in good shape. We got paid. We
Yeah.
got paid from the still." So now, tell me about your experience with this. Now, your father, Tyler's grandfather, then got started in the business as well.
Well, after the general store, he closed that and started up Oliver and Mayrath Auger distributorship back in Melrose, Minnesota. And then, like I said, it was a small town. My dad had bigger and brighter ideas, he thought, and so we moved from town to town and never lived in a town more than 2 years until we finally moved to Spencer, Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
And he started up a store called Shopper Supply, and that was back in 1966 because we're celebrating our 50th anniversary
Now,
this year.
yeah, well, that's great. Well, and somebody had to have. So you talk about great grandfather. What was your great grandfather's name?
George.
George. So George is going to open a store, okay? He figures it out. He opens a store. But think of the guts. Think of the courage. Is okay, we're just going to put everything we've got into this store, give this stuff to people, and hope they come back and pay us and get the business started. Entrepreneurship, small business, taking a chance, taking a leap of faith. Think about it. You guys have 100 and how many thousand square feet here of a retail store. Talk about rolling the dice. I mean, it's always a challenge in business, but somebody's got to have the guts to go out and do it and make that work, and just go out there and try to get good employees and take care of your customers. And that's business. It's America. It's just so great to just have, like, in my hand, like, history of retail commerce. That's fun. It's got to make you feel good. Just being a part of that. And so, what are your thoughts? You enjoy being involved in the retail?
I do. I grew up with my grandfather, my uncle, and my father. Married to the business. So,
Yeah. It's kind of funny when I first met you two. I thought you were brothers because I guarantee if
Thank
you
you.
looked at pictures
Thank you.
when he was young, it'd probably look exactly like you. You guys are pretty much spit and image. So, yeah, I think he's got a little more hair than you do, though.
He does.
Yeah, I can't say much about that. I got the reverse mohawk working myself.
Fourth generation, first bald one.
It happens.
So, it does.
Every fourth generation.
The other side, my wife's side of the family, not his side.
That's great. Well, hey, I really appreciate your hospitality here today. It's been fun, walking around and seeing everybody and meeting everybody, and you folks are just very friendly, and everybody in the store is friendly, and you have a wonderful atmosphere here. I want to thank you for your hospitality, and I also want to thank you for what you're doing for America, small business, and hiring people and keeping this country going. We want to keep this kind of store in business. It's all about these big box stores and kind of taking over the country, and this is it. FH would just crawl over, turn over if he saw these big box stores. It's the personality that you walk into a store and you have people taking care of you like your family.
Yeah, he thought my father was crazy for moving out of Melrose and getting bigger and bigger than he was in Minnesota, but here we are, bigger
Here
yet,
you are.
So.
Well, great. Thank you again for your hospitality.
Yeah, nice to see
your
you.
friendship.
Appreciate
We look
it.
forward to seeing you guys again. And thank you again for being a great customer of ours and doing what you do. You're on the road with Noble Outfitters. Hang on. We're going to try some of the best brisket we've ever sunk our teeth into. Hang on. We'll be right back. You're on the road with Noble Outfitters, and my favorite segment of the week is the recipe of the week. And I have Tim Parker and the Traeger Grill with me today. Tim, how are you
sir?
doing, buddy?
Fine, thanks.
This is, the heat of Arizona. I don't know if we need a barbecue. We just lay the brisket on the sidewalk.
take care of itself.
It might be a little roasted out here. But anyway, tell me a little bit about the Traeger Grill. I know you sell them, you rep them.
Right, correct.
Okay.
So what it is, it's a wood pellet grill. It
Right.
uses flavored wood pellets for both the flavoring and the heat source. You simply put the pellets in the side, you plug it into the wall, you turn the knob to the temperature you want, it augers the pellets over automatically. So it's a set it and forget it type grill.
Perfect. Well, and interestingly, there's no flame.
There's no flame.
It's
all
indirect heat.
all indirect heat,
And
so
it's-
you're not taking the moistures out of
It's
the meat.
hot and it's smoky.
Correct.
Okay, so it's like an oven that's injected with smoke.
Absolutely.
I love it. And it's so compact, it's so easy. All you got to do is put the pellets in
Put the
and you're ready
pellets
to
in,
go.
set it and forget it.
That's wonderful. So I understand you had a couple of things besides the brisket here.
Correct.
We're going to taste. You've got a few other things that you've made up here.
Over here we've got some macaroni and cheese.
Mac and cheese,
Got some mushrooms. We're doing some pineapple.
glazed pineapple,
Yep.
grilled mushrooms. Love it. So be any chance I could taste some of this stuff?
Absolutely.
All right, well, we're going to
Absolutely.
go inside and get in the shade and have us a little lunch.
All right.
And we'll talk about your recipes.
Awesome.
We'll be right back. Don't go away. We're with Jim Parker, and he's going to tell us about his recipes on how he smoked this wonderful food for us today. I want you to tell us a little bit about your recipe, so more so about Tim. Okay, you cook this stuff, and you know, I'm a chef. I've been 25 years doing this, so give me a little secret here. Give me a little.
So what
give me a
today
little
was, is today I did a beef marinade. The beef marinade consists of, if you can get it, it's a Traeger product called a carne asada.
Okay.
If you can't get that, then I just use beef broth. And then I do 2 oranges sliced up, 1 lime sliced up, and 4 cloves of garlic chopped, a quarter of a bundle of cilantro chopped up, and a cup of lemon lime juice,
Okay.
like soda. Put
Now-
it all in a bag and put the meat in there and let it soak for an hour per hour, no more than 2 hours per hour,
Okay. Per pound.
per pound. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, per pound.
Everybody that watches our show, we like to share our recipe with it. You
Sure.
would be okay to share your
Absolutely,
recipe.
absolutely.
Okay. You're going to be able to go to nobleoutfitters.com/RFDTV, and you'll be able to get Jim's recipe on how he marinated this this beautiful brisket, and then you'll be able to do this at home yourself, especially if you had a Traeger grill.
Correct.
But you know, smoking is smoking, right?
Correct.
So you can just do a nice smoke on it. You know, one of the things I as a chef, and you know, I was a butcher, I butchered a little bit, is that really a lot of people don't know how to actually carve a brisket or a tri-tip, you know, after they've roasted it on the grill, which
Right.
is it's an easy product to make. You know, you get a nice tri-tip and grill it up good. But the issue is that when you slice the tri-tip or the brisket, very important that you slice against the grain, right? So if you think of shoestrings, you know, in a bundle, you wouldn't want to cut them this way because you'll never chew them. But if you cut them in small pieces, you know,
Right.
you could chew it up. So basically, you know, you've got to go against the grain, which is that's our grain coming this way. And then when you have a nice slice coming up and you look at that, then you're going to get a nice, beautiful, tender piece that, you know,
Some good
comes
texture.
apart. Yeah, comes apart very easily and nice and tender. And I'm going to have to jump in here just a sec. I'm gonna serve you first, chef. Let's get you a little bite of this first. You just jump in there and get you a piece. Okay. Sorry I cut you a small piece, Jim, and cut myself a big piece, but. Well, Tim, thank you very much for sharing your recipes with us
Thank you, sir.
and enjoying this beautiful roast. And I'm going to dig into this wonderful mac and cheese and roasted pineapple and beautiful mushrooms. And as soon as I can, I'm going to do it pretty quickly because you see those guys back there, the film guys? Yeah. It's like locusts, okay? When they see us turn our back, they're going to come through and eat it all. So I'm going to jump in here pretty quick.
All right.
You're on the road with Noble Outfitters. Coming up next, you're going to meet Willow Root, Johnny Cash, and BB. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. You're on the road with Noble Outfitters, and on this week's Noble Child of Tomorrow, we have Willow Root. I love that name right off the bat. You're a character. So
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. How old are you?
I'm 11 years old.
Yeah, do you like horses?
A lot.
Horses are kind of like your life, aren't they?
Yeah.
So tell me a little about this whole horse rescue and all that process. How did that get started?
We, ever since we got our house, we started rescuing horses.
We meaning mom and dad and you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when we started rescuing, it just became like a big thing, and we just want to give them a second chance.
Yeah. Well, that's great. It makes you feel pretty good to save these horses and take care of them. When you get the horses, are they a little bit roughed up, and you got to give them some love?
Yeah, they're like usually skinny whenever they come over, so we give them a lot of alfalfa and a lot of supplements to get them a little bit more fat. Once they get fatter, we start training them, and that's when we usually keep them.
What are your horses' names?
My horses, well, my two favorite horses' names, they're Johnny Cash and BB.
Johnny Cash, and BB stands for?
BB stands for Bob's Burgers.
Bob's Burgers. You know, I keep hearing about Bob's Burgers. I don't watch cartoons, but is it an actual burger place?
Yeah, it's about a family that works at a burger place.
Yeah.
And usually it's a hilarious adult show.
And so what do you think you're going to do when you get older? What do you plan on doing?
I want to be a veterinarian.
You know, that's an interesting story, a veterinarian. Do you know Chandler, Arizona got started, the whole town got started by a veterinarian. And his name was Dr. Chandler. You'll have to look him up and read about him, but he came to this area and created Chandler, Arizona. He bought a bunch of property up, created the Chandler Ranch, and then it turned into a town, and they just celebrated their 100th anniversary in 2012. So from 1912 to 2012 is 100 years old. All right, well, we're gonna go outside and meet Johnny Cash and BB and check them out. Let's go. You're on the road with Noble Outfitters. We're gonna meet a couple of beautiful rescue horses here. And Willow, introduce us to your buddies.
This is BB, our pony / mini. We can't figure it out. And this is my favorite rescue horse, Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash, I was thinking it was gonna be black because Johnny Cash always wore black. Where'd Johnny Cash come from?
Well, when we were taking them back home in the trailer, we also had a gray with him, and they were like really best friends. And we were like, what should we name these two? I kind of forgot the other one's name because we haven't had her in such a long time. But we named the gray his Johnny Cash's wife, and then we named him Johnny Cash.
Willow, these are beautiful horses. You've done a wonderful job taking care of them.
Thank you.
That you should be very proud of yourself for taking care of these horses and being responsible for them and bringing them back and giving them a good home. Good for you.
Thank you.
Good girl. So training these horses can't be simple when they are rescued. So what goes into that?
Well, when we first started training him, we started lunging him in a round pen. Then after it came to lunging, he was already used to the saddle because when we first got him, we just threw a saddle on him thinking that he was trained. But he wouldn't move, he wouldn't walk. And so that's when we realized like we can put a saddle on him, but he doesn't know how to ride.
Right.
So when we started training him, it took a really long time. And then when we finally got him to like move and stuff, we were training him with a bridle.
Yeah.
And after the bridle, I just hopped on and he started listening again.
Good girl. Good girl.
Him only took him one day. He was a fast learner.
Ready to grow, huh?
Yeah.
He's ready for action. I want to thank all the folks from Shoppers here in Chandler, Arizona. We've had a wonderful time. If you ever need anything, especially a ghillie suit, just pop into Shoppers. You can get about anything you want. Join us next week. You'll never know where we show up next, and you may not even be able to see us. We may be hiding out there. See you next week. Take care from Chandler, Arizona. Thank you, Shoppers.